original Paludarium. We've moved the fish over, but check out the rootage that's happened here. We've only had this, how long have we had this one for? Has it been a year already? I reckon about 8 months. I reckon almost a year. Check out how deep that is. The rooting and all this, all the roots in here have grown all the way through the soil. In fact, I don't know if we're going to be able to get any of the rocks underneath it. Right here, some of this is grown in. I'll try and clean this out and build it into something new. You can check out how the soil is like mixed in with this earlier red rock. I think we had too many issues with water seeping across from our ponds into this. We ended up having some algae that would grow, this stringy green crap that just slowed everything down. We had issues with the filter as well, blocking up, and with the location of the filter that we picked right down in the back here, we had some issues with the flow being stopped every once in a while. So you can see we've got the mesh here underneath all the red rock, and you can see as well some of the root matter from the trees, and we took out the little baby trees you can see here, and that was all one clump. That's all grown together. We're going to have to trim this back. You can see it's got some burns on top of the leaves from where it grew into the light. It grew really tall, so we're going to have to prune that back, get them ready to go for the next tank, and decide how we're going to design the new one. I think we want something with a bit more water for them to play in, and we'll leave the fountains for the other one. This was the substrate that we used under the topsoil, and you can see as well we used the mesh was actually a bit too fine, I thought originally, but it's made a good seal between the substrate and the soil. And the soil sitting on this, we had no issues with anything falling through. Next time I think we're going to seal that in a bit better. You can see we've got this running underneath and over top of the big rocks. The mesh and the red rocks then sit on top of it, the small rocks, and that touches the water, and then the soil goes on top of that above the water level. As you can see, it's kind of a mess. Put the light back on just so you can see this is the main base that I actually used for this one. We had a big rock in the corner there. You can see like this, we had this balanced on the wood, and the log is the main part that gave us our shape. You can see this was leaned up, and we had actually used this glue, or whatever it's called, the aqua expanding foam. It's aqua safe foam, and it's colored black so you don't notice it, and we used it in here to help keep a bit more structure to the rock. But you can see in the back we used this, we built this up. This is where the pump was originally based, and we had this cover over top of it, but we're probably gonna next time put the pump somewhere else that's a bit more accessible. I think that's going to be important. I've been messing around with new designs. This is what we've got so far. Taking some of the ideas from before. In particular, we wanted to make the pump a lot more accessible, so it's hidden back there. Also wanted to open up the area some more, so we've used mostly the same pieces. This was the bit that was most of the cave, but we've built a big cave, but it's on the back of this area behind here, so I'm not sure how much I'm gonna fill that up or how that'll look with plants, but basically I think we've used less rocks in this with the goal of being able to create some more light in here. The rocks are just stacked. At this stage we haven't used anything to hold it together. This is going to be our base for our main growing area, and I actually really like what we've got with the fountains so far. We've got something we're going to have back there, and we've got the other ones coming through the log. So this is not too noisy. None of this is mounted together. It's not stuck together, and hopefully, given that the stability that it has already at this stage, we should be able to leave it like that, and then as we put the smaller rocks on top, to form the basis before we put the topsoil on, and cover this. We should have a pretty solid base already without having to mount it. So there you go. We're looking at putting some soil as the some larger rocks like this as the layer on underneath the topsoil, but instead I forgot that we had this magic foam, which is aquarium safe. So sprayed that, and as it started inflating, stuck some of the rocks in, so we got like a hard edge now that protects the water from going into the soil area, and also hopefully when it dries will make it look a whole lot more natural. And one thing I hadn't realized is that after it sprays, it actually dries, the cross dries and it inflates. I can squish it a bit to make sure that it's all nice and waterproof, and should give us actually a better seal than what we've had previously. So should just be able to put the topsoil straight on top of that. I'm doing a demo fill just to keep cleaning out the bottom, but see also to see what it looks like, see where there's issues. In particular, see how it looks when it's full of water. This is what we've got so far. Seeing where the water line comes up to. I really like the stepping here. I'm looking at putting some plants in the crevices through this spot. Still like to clean up that hose. We're going to put something like a bridge over top. Planting area looks okay. I think we're still going to put some small rocks in that just to help filter out the topsoil from falling through. So we're going to have a fountain in the back corner there. And I love this one. You can see it falling from inside the log, just with how the hose has been stuck through the goopy, foamy stuff. So that's going to look really cool. Here's the new tank as it currently is. I've already put some plants in it. It was a pretty quick process, so I didn't get a chance to show you how to do it or how I'd put them in. But I really like the different pattern of plants, the ones that we collected. We would kept some from the previous plant, from the previous tank, and we've trying to encourage some of them to actually grow into the wood. So we've snuck some of them into one of the crevices. One thing that I'm really happy with, we've got a stack of this Java moss, and we've got a little moss ball, which I'm not sure how that's going to go, but that's hiding there in the cave. We also set up the tree from the old tank. We're going to go with just one tree this time, because the other two, having the two trees up there, kind of got a little bit out of control. At the moment we seem to have a lot of water in the dirt right near here, but I can't tell where it's leaking from, so it might be coming from the fountain in here, which was running really slow before. So we cranked that up, getting some really nice streams out of the log. And then over here, our second one is working really well as well now that we've pumped up the energy of it, the power of it. One thing I just wanted to show you was the pump, the placement for the pump, which is right back there, just underneath this rock. So we can really easily pick up this rock, the little one, and this one, and then get to the pump to change the filter and whatnot and clean it out if we need to, which was a big design flaw of the previous one. We had the pump hidden right underneath the island, if you remember from the previous video, so it made it really hard to access. At this stage there's still no fish in it, but it looks good, it looks ready to go. We'll give it another couple of days to freshen up, and then we'll put the fish in and see how it goes. I'm a bit worried about the plant life, because we seem to have some colour already coming out of it, and I can already see a stack of snails. But I am seeing that this one's growing up nice and strong, and some of the other ones are starting to take root and showing some growth, like the Java moss here that's just been placed on the rock. So we'll see what happens. Time for an update on where we're at with this aquarium. The fish have been introduced. We have a couple swimming around, and we ordered a log to make into a log bridge, but we had a slight issue with it. It's really quite large. This is half of the log that we got. get set up. But overall, you can see we're starting to get a nice amount of green. I'm also a little bit worried, not sure, it may be something that I may have to get used to, but this is a little bit yellow. We're now starting to get some yellow colouring in the water. I get the feeling that's from the log, which we want to have to be part of the water dripping up. I'm noticing though that my snowy mountain minnows are really enjoying being behind the island, and my orange fish, which I don't know the name of, they're just kind of everywhere, really enjoying being out and ruling the garden here, as you can see.